All right, Coach. I guess first of all, just the takeaways from today. I mean, what are your thoughts on kind of how the game played out? Maybe what assumption was, what you struggled with?
Well, what we saw on tape this morning and last night was that Assumption played a perimeter defense, left the middle wide open. They did a good job of scouting what we would like to do, and I think they just scouted a little bit better than we did as coaches, because we were trying to me, at the beginning, we were playing aggressive and coming after them, and we were able to get some points and go on runs with our serve, which we didn't in sets 2, 3, and 4. But our aggressiveness, and then it felt like when we got to set 2, we had an opportunity, we stayed with them, but we just started to tip and push too much, but their block forced that, and we were more out of system than they were in sets 2, 3, and 4. In set 1, we were more in system. We got what we wanted to. God bless Elsa. She did a great job of running after balls and trying to get them to the center or get them to the hitters. Nerves were. I don't think nerves were a factor sometimes for these kids, but they the only thing I asked them to do when we came out for Game 4 is make sure that when you leave that floor, did you leave everything on it? And they felt like they did, and they've all year long they've had to fight some adversity through different lineups to different kids having success and celebrating that success, and just wish that we could have had more runs during sets 2, 3, and 4 that would have at least kept us in it, up to the 20-point mark, and then take our chances from there. But their height played a big factor in our ability to, if we set it high, we talked about if we set it high, they're going to get touches, they're going to get blocks, but you're going to have to keep hitting. But when we were able to run a little bit quicker offense, then we got a lot more attacks to the back line. Today, they took away a lot of the tips, and they took away a lot of the back line attacks because of their presence with their height.
Yeah. You mentioned it yesterday, how obviously this is 4 years in a row here. You guys first win, being able to play in a semifinal in that run. What kind of legacy does this senior class leave? Not so much being the one to break through, but just being here 4 years, maybe setting a standard here in the future too.
Well, the standard that was set, and I believe I talked to Trevor about this, the standard and the culture that was set with this group of 4 was led before them, but they just kind of kept continuing to do it. And that started with their involvement in other sports and being competitive in that, but also too, when it came time to prepare in the off season, they were the 4 that kept coming every day when we'd have open gyms. There's the ones that wanted to stay late, and they start to bleed over with what they're demonstrating through action. The other kids see it, and they're starting to do the same thing. So our culture, our expectation, the seniors are the ones that led that factor this year, because over the 4 years they've led like, if I can be here, you can be here, and they were very open-armed, because every year we've always had some freshmen step in, or we've had some, a sophomore that maybe didn't play very much all of a sudden is a starter, or this year you take two a junior and a senior who started last year, who now were starters at the beginning of the year. And those kids just understood the team part of the culture, which is, my belief is the team part of the culture. And we have that group of kids, especially the seniors, that they have their own personal goals, but we always talked about what's our team need to do and what's our team goals. And so I think when you can develop a culture, it has to be a team-oriented culture. And I really feel like they did that over their 4 years, of getting to this point.
Now, you don't want to think about next year yet, I'm sure, but when it comes to the talent that you have on the outsides, I mean, you got to feel pretty excited about that too.
I do. We do. We have a young setter, Sophie Lorman, who started out the season, didn't get to play much in the last part because we switched to a 5-1, but she has a nice pair of hands and she's good defensively. I think she'll fill in some nice shoes. We've got to find another setter. We'll probably run a 6-2 just because of the height that we won't have at that setter spot, but to bring back Zoe in the middle, to bring back the 2 outside hitters, to bring back, Addie Anthover, who we can move to middle, we can keep on right. And we have Millie Anthover, who started out at the beginning of the season, that will have some experience coming in. So, what it's going to take is trying the one person that's going to be the hardest person to replace, Kaylee Simons. For 4 years, she's crushed every record there is at Kuemper for digs, and you've got to find somebody that has just that God-given talent to be able to read, react. That's going to be the hardest shoes, but realistic, I should say all of them are hard shoes because, Elsa started for 3 years, and you've got Bree who started for 4 years. So experience is going to be the biggest issue for us. But you know what? I believe that the grouping that's going to come in is going to want to do something during the summer because they have this feeling of what we just went through, and they want to feel that as well for their team,
right.
You know, moving into next year.
Coach, thanks. Great year.
Well, Derek, thank you very much, and KMA for sharing the time about Kuemper and getting the kids' names out there. That's always very important. And I do love your Monday morning minutes. So
right.
you and your children are awesome to watch.
I appreciate that.